Alright, welcome. Today I'm going to go over how to remove the shadow that is cascading left next to the lead singer here. I was requested to do this by a student, and it's definitely a good project to do. There is it is a lot of work to remove these shadows, and you're not going to use. I think using the clone stamp tool to take out the shadows will be a little bit too much to do. As you see, I'll just show you. I'll use the stamp, and I'll sample an area, and I'll just try to clone out, this stuff here and there. But I don't know, it'll look a little funky because. It will kind of repeat steps over and over, and you'll see that it's obviously cloned out. So I'm going to go out or do it in a little bit different manner. So I'm just stepping back using let's see, Control Z or Command Z. So what I'm going to do, I used a process called etching, which is using paths to make a selection. And I'll go ahead and show you what that path looks like. Alright, so this is the path that I created. So what I used is I used the pen tool and traced around his contour of his body here, and the whole figure. I cut through the microphone cable right now. And it's fine. It doesn't matter too much because we won't be affecting that area. But what we'll be doing is taking this whole left side of the canvas and sliding it to the right to cover up this whole part. But first I had to cut out the whole lead singer figure to ensure that when I'm sliding this over, it doesn't go on top. And I'll show you that this could happen. But I'm just going to go ahead and make, from your other paths video, you learned that you can make a path a selection. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So under paths in the layers palette, you select the work path, and you can click here on the bottom. It says load path as a selection. I'm going to click that. It'll make the selection. And what I'm going to do is make a copy of layer 0. I've already done this process, but I'm just going to show you again. So I'll click on layer 0, copy 2, and I'll create a layer mask using this current selection. And it'll bring up this. This is my path selection in my layer mask. So with this image alone, it should look like this without the layer 0 and layer 0 copy below it. So now what we're going to do, we're going to load that same selection, and we're going to invert it. And then I'm going to use Quick Mask mode to edit this selection. You can hit Q on the keyboard, or you can hit this icon on the tools palette. It said edit, and just click on it once, and it'll make your selection red. So what I want to do with this is make this whole right side of this canvas red up to about this point. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. So although I have black selected in my color picker, and as I paint, it'll still show up red because it's like a layer mask, in that it black hides and white shows. So what I'm doing is I'm adding to this current selection, and I'll demo this a little bit more in class on Friday. So I make this selection. I have this whole part just kind of mapped out. We're going to bring this in a little bit more. So now that I have this selection, I'm going to drag. I'm going to do this part 2. We're going to drag this whole area to the right so that the man is covering most of his shadow. So I'm going to exit Quick Mask, just hit Q on the keyboard, and it'll show that current selection. and under layer 0 with this current selection, use the move tool and you'll click and drag to the right. You can hold shift to keep it on the horizontal axis, and there you go. So I'll deselect. As you can see, I have a little duplicate because I have a copy underneath. I'll go and remove that, and what you want to do after this is crop out this transparent area. So I'll just click and drag with my crop tool, and it should snap to the edge, and then you hit enter. So I edited out the shadow. However, you can still see it in between the singer's legs, and there's still cast shadows from the flash in the background of the other musicians. You could go about editing those out, but that part is fairly difficult. You probably would need to use the clone stamp to edit that out, and it's not as obvious as it would have been if I would have done the clone stamp on this original shadow right here. But you can do it on these ones because it's not the main focal point of the photograph. But with this made, it's you can see that it's clean, it's cut. You use your etching process with your paths, which is really neat as well. As you zoom in, when I zoom in, you can see the paths that I've drawn kind of on the edge. And I didn't do a very clean job. See here, there's a little, there's corners which you wouldn't find really on a human hand, but I was just doing it fairly quick. But that is how you would go about removing shadows. If you have any other questions, email me, and thank you. See you next time.